This is about as perfect as it gets on the allotment. Nice warm day, cloudy, but not burning hot. And well, just a few things to plant into the beds, a bit of weeding, just leisurely. Really nice. It's great when the grass is cut as well, because that's not playing on my mind. Right, let's have a look, see what needs to be planted. So I've got some choices. What have we got here? Broccoli, so this is the purple sprouting broccoli. We've got kale, both Ursa, the red Russian kale, and some Toscana. I don't think I'm going to be doing anything with those spare cucumbers, though they seem to be coming along well. Always the way when you've got too many. And then we've got sprouts, which I've got a few locations for. So sprouts, 2 kales, and some purple sprouting broccoli. Okay, let's go and see where I'm going to put them. Well, it's the usual story on weeds. Only a few, and they'll be very easy to get out. That one, which the chickens love, which has got all sorts of names according to the subscribers, but I call it goosegrass. And that's going to come out real easy, and that'll go for the chickens. This one's pretty good. I just got to remember that if I'm going to put any brassicas in these, they do have club roots, so I'll be putting in some garden lime. So tall hoops, and that lends itself to tall plants. So I'm thinking one will be purple sprouting broccoli or sprouts, and the other one can be the kale, and certainly the Toscana gets quite tall, so I think I might have a bash at those two. Let's go and get the plants out. Okay, so we've got the 2 types of kale. I think what I'm going to do is put Toscana into this bed and Ursa into the bed over there, because that's a lot lower growing. And this, which I thought was purple sprouting broccoli, is early broccoli. So I need to get that right, which means I need to sow some purple sprouting broccoli for next February. Need to put that on my agenda. And then I've got some sprouts. Now the question is, I'm going to put sprouts over on that far bed that's very firm. Do I want sprouts over here? Thinks. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll put some of that broccoli into one of these other beds. I'll see. But I'm going to need lime with all of these. I've made up my mind. So it's going to be Toscana, the Cabernet Nero style cow in here. And I'm just going to put 8 plants in. So what do we got? Pick the best. And yeah, there's a good one there. So we'll have him. And this one is 2, even 3. So I'm going to tease that, and the survivor goes in. There's one there. Actually, they're all good. One there, one there. Put this odd one into there. And we've got an odd one here as well. And then they can go back just in case something odd happens. And these clams, root trainers, have fallen apart. Right, and we want another 4 for here. And we've got one there, and another bunch of 3. So let's see how they tease apart. That's a good one. And we'll get rid of that one and use this one. Okay, so 4 plants to go in. And these get quite tall, and they do bush out quite a lot. Think, Malcolm, you do need lime. So in it goes and around, mix it up. And that'll do that one nicely. And like all brassicas, you can bury the stem quite deeply. I'll keep these away from the sides of the nets. as they do bush out quite a lot. And ultimately, with the height of these, I'll probably end up taking the net off altogether as we approach the autumn, if they get some good height, which they should do. Right, that's that one in. Okay, I'll get on and plant the rest of these. Okay, I've sorted myself out some plants. This is early heading broccoli, and this bed has definitely got clubroot in it as well. So same strategy, a goodly amount of garden lime. Pick the very best plants. I've got multiple seedlings in some of these, so the spares are coming out. And again, you can bury the stems with these and get them nice and firmly in. So there's one. This one's got a couple of smaller shoots. Get him in as well. There we go. I can see another little shoot there. I'm going to take them out because we just don't want plants competing with each other. So there's 2 in, and again I'm going to do 8. Make sure that I've got great spacing for them. Right, I'll get on. Right, onto the red Ursa. So this is the bed, and I weeded this one only a week or so back and planted a load of tagetes to actually try and get rid of some of the bindweed, or at least to inhibit it. And well, the bindweeds come up on this side fairly rapidly. I can't see any where the tagetes is, but there is a little bit there, so I'm going to dig those out anyway. And as far as those tagetes elsewhere, these are kept quite well, grown on nicely. Some bindweed there coming up right by it, so I don't know, jury's out. I put it along the back of this bed, but you wouldn't know because it's been completely eaten by slugs. A lot of people said that they're a bit slug sensitive, or the slugs are a bit partial to them. And this one, 4 of 6 I think remain. So obviously they're a bit tender when it comes to slugs, but they seem to be working okay over here, and if nothing else they'll look nice. But I'm not so sure whether they're inhibiting bindweed at this stage. We'll see. Okay, I think again in here probably 6 plants is going to be plenty, because if you clip these out the top they just bush up nicely. So I'll get on and plant those. Right, I'm going to plant these sprouts, and this is the tool I'm going to use. Yeah, planting sprouts with a sledgehammer. And of course, what I want is really firm ground. So I've got a couple of weeds in here. I'm going to get those out first, and then I'm going to give it a thorough good thumping. This is already fairly firm, but I just want it as firm as possible, because my understanding is that sprouts like it firm, and that's what they're going to get this year, both here and over there. And then, well, I'm just going to make the smallest of hole quite deep and get those sprouts planted in. Again in here, not too many plants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 plants, that's all. Because I figure it's better to have 6 good plants full of sprouts than no sprouts. And for the last 2 years I've had no sprouts, and I think it's just a bit of a nemesis for me, but luck's on my side. I think I've got a variety that's been recommended by a subscriber. I'll tell you the name of it if I can find the label, but it's an F1. Here we go. Brilliant F1. I'm reliably informed it's a really good sprout, so I'm gonna give it a go. Right, get those few weeds out and start thumping. There we go, nicely firmed in, and hopefully we'll get some success. Gonna need to watch the slugs in that bed, I think, but got plenty of spares if things go wrong, and we'll be using some of those in that other bed the other side of the black currants. So getting along nicely. So only 3 beds left on this level of the plot. This one over by the hedge, and the far side of the black currants. So I think I'm just going to weed this one and get something into it, because that way this whole area will be finished. Who'd have thought? It just sort of creeps up on you. All of a sudden everything seems to be planted. So that's a good thing. Well, this doesn't want to go over, that's better. And we've got some pretty meaty weeds in here. Not many, but the ones that we have got seem to be well established following all that rain. So I'll get those out, and then we'll get a few last crops into here. I'm looking forward to getting this thing out. Gotta try and get the root. Yep, no problem. And there's quite a lot of fairly significant size mare's tail in here, which I'll try and get low down. There we go. Right, get the last few out. Right, into this bed, just 8 more of these lovely celeriac plants, and hopefully we'll have a good season of large celeriac. Okay, plenty of space around them. I'll get those in. Well, it really is a leisurely and enjoyable part of growing, just planting out the plants that you've grown from seed. And this whole area now, pretty much together, all these beds are full, and we've got those 2 beds done, that one over there, and we've just got 1 empty here. So 1 there, 1 over the end, and everything will be planted. The parsnips got some developing to do before they go in here, but that won't be too long either. They're coming on nicely. Well, it occurred to me, there's one hell of a business opportunity for someone. Now, I'm too long in the tooth for business opportunities, but if I had £1 for every time somebody asked me where I got my metal hoops from, then I'd be a rich man. So these metal hoops, they are sprung mild still. They are 8mm thick, and they came in a long coil, I think 50 meters. And then I cut them all to just about 1400 centimeters, so just over a meter, so that I had sufficient length to push them in the ground and still have a meter worth of arch. And well, they're galvanized. They don't rust at all. They're pretty much, well, a lifelong purchase once you've got hold of the mild steel and or galvanized steel and cut them and made them. But of course, getting hold of that coil of steel is hard. Originally I got mine from Amazon. That's a long time ago, and I know for sure that it's no longer there. So if there's anybody out there who wants to make a really fast buck, I can tell you there's a huge demand for these. And if you just got an absolute load of that sprung steel and cut it to length, you could sell them like hotcakes. I think I paid £60 for the 50 meters at the time, which seemed like quite a lot of money, but it goes an awful long way. And as you can see, these beds they're covered with just 3 hoops, and these beds are well over 2 meters long. So if you want to make a fast buck, I think that's a good idea. I look forward to hearing if anybody's doing it or if anybody finds some, but I do get an awful lot of inquiries. Well, if the warm weather keeps up, I'll soon be putting out my courgettes and squash, and this is settled down nicely now. I'm going to need to pin these edges a bit and tidy up some of this awful spaghetti that comes off the sides of this membrane, but otherwise the bed's pretty much ready to go. So just need a bit of consistent warmth, but they're doing fine in the polytunnel for another week or so. So the plot's looking fairly comfortable, i.e. I don't have to do an awful lot at the moment other than keep on top of the weeds, keep the grass growing, mowing that is, and just watch over everything. The bed, the other side of the blackcurrants, here's the blackcurrants, I'll show you, is starting to be infested with weed, and as you can see it is very firm and quite dry, so I think it'd be ideal for sprouts. I'm not going to do them today. I do need to get under the surface and get some of the roots out of those weeds and then get it back firm again before I plant them, but I think that's where they're going. And my hugelkultur bed, I've done nothing with it yet. I'm going to put some coriander and a few herbs in here in the next week or so, but I seem to have got a few volunteer potatoes and a volunteer strawberry plant, so I'm probably just going to live with those and plant a few things around them. But that one's on my agenda. Don't really treat that as a vegetable bed, it's just a bit of fun. And my potatoes have really started to sprout, and we can see leaves on all of them. There's just that one that isn't doing anything, and I'm just hoping it's got some leaves down there somewhere. Just can't find them. Ah, there they are, they're coming up. They won't be long. So hopefully we'll have a full set of potato pots next to all this garlic. And whilst I've got garlic that seems to be flowering or producing heads, these have not done so, and I think it's probably the variety, but these did go in earlier and I have stayed there in this fairly shaded area for a pretty long while, so looking forward to seeing what they turn out like. I've often said how disappointed I've been that my plum tree hasn't flowered and set fruit, and this year it has. So it's a fairly big tree now. I've had it about 5 or 6 years I think, but just look at the plums down that branch. Fantastic. This is Victoria plum, and I sort of can't see the plums, and then all of a sudden I start seeing them. There's just loads and loads of them, and they really are swelling up nicely. They were just a few millimeters only a week or so ago, and now they're getting near to being over 1 centimeter long and fattening out nicely. So I'm really looking forward to Victoria plums this year. Well, I've got some wildlife news. Now I've got no tadpoles in my pond at all. It does suffer a bit when I cut the grass, and I can't see anything at the moment, but just the other day on one of these rocks I could see a fairly large newt, which isn't uncommon. I see quite a lot of newts in here, but this one had a crest on its back, and that's the first time I've seen one of those. I think there is a crested newt, and it's good to have more than one variety in the pond, so I'm delighted about that. Well, I think that's me done for today. I do hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you do, then why not like and subscribe and click on the bell to get my updates every Wednesday and every Sunday at 8 PM. Hope you're having a good week. Diolch yn fawr.